Have you ever found yourself holding on to items in your home that just seem to take up space, even though you don't actually use them anymore? Over time, it's so easy for clutter to accumulate. Old furniture that no longer serves its purpose, piles of papers, collecting dust, and sentimental trinkets tucked away in drawers or corners. But here's the reality. Before you turn 65, there are certain household items you need to let go of. And trust me, doing so isn't just about creating more space. It's about crafting a living environment that feels lighter, more organized, and truly aligned with the life you want to embrace. In this video, we'll explore 7 specific items in your home that could be holding you back more than you realize. Whether they're things you've kept out of habit, items that have long outlived their usefulness, or possessions that subtly add stress to your daily routine, letting go of them can actually bring you a sense of relief. And here's the most important part. Decluttering isn't about giving up or losing memories. It's about creating freedom. Freedom from excess, freedom from stress, and freedom to focus on what truly matters to you. Before we begin, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you enjoy this video, please type 1 in the comments. If you don't like it, type 0 in the comments to let me know so I can make better videos for you. Now let's get started. Number 1. Worn out and unused furniture. One of the most overlooked but significant sources of household clutter is old, worn out, or unused furniture. Over time, our homes can quietly fill up with pieces that once had a purpose but no longer serve us. A coffee table you inherited from a relative, a couch that's seen better days, or an old china cabinet that's more decorative than functional. These items blend into the background of daily life so completely that we often stop noticing them. But just because something has been around for a long time doesn't mean it still belongs in your space. Furniture carries memories, and that's part of what makes it so hard to let go. Maybe it's the rocking chair where you once read to your children, or the dining table that hosted years of holiday dinners. But as the years go by, and as your needs and lifestyle evolve, it's important to ask yourself, is this piece still adding value to my life, or is it just taking up space? Too much furniture doesn't just make your home feel cluttered, it can actually make it harder to live in. As we age, mobility and safety become more important than ever. Navigating a room filled with oversized or poorly placed furniture can become a daily challenge, especially if you're dealing with joint pain, balance issues, or the need for assistive equipment like walkers or canes. Take George, for example. At 69, he decided to finally downsize after his children had moved out years ago. Over the decades, he had accumulated a wide mix of furniture, some inherited from his parents, others gathered from past homes and old jobs, and a few that had sentimental stories attached. His living room alone held 2 coffee tables, 3 mismatched chairs, and a giant entertainment center that had long outlived its usefulness. At first, George didn't think much of it. These were just the things he'd always had. But when he started having trouble getting around, especially when his knees began to ache and he found himself navigating tight corners and tripping over low furniture, he realized his house was no longer a safe or peaceful place to be. One weekend, his neighbor and longtime friend, Claire, stopped by for coffee. As they chatted, she gently asked, "When's the last time you actually used that cabinet?" Referring to a large oak hutch crowded with dusty dishes and outdated glassware. George admitted he hadn't touched most of it in years. That conversation was the start of a major change. With Claire's help, George began evaluating each room, item by item. The cracked side table that wobbled every time someone touched it, gone. The recliner that blocked the walkway and had lost all its padding, donated. Even the dining chairs with broken spindles and splintered legs were finally hauled away. At first it was hard. Every piece brought back a memory. But slowly George began to feel the weight lifting. He kept what mattered. The comfortable armchair by the window, the sturdy table where he still enjoyed breakfast, a bookshelf holding his favorite reads. Everything else? Let go with gratitude. The result was more than just a neater home. The rooms felt bigger. The air felt clearer. And George himself moved more freely, more confidently. There was space to breathe, to stretch, and to live. More importantly, he discovered that the memories he cherished weren't tied to old furniture. They were within him. And letting go didn't mean forgetting. It meant making space for new moments to unfold. And that's the real power in releasing worn out and unused furniture. It's not about getting rid of your past. It's about honoring your present. About creating a home that feels open, built, calm, and designed around your current needs, not the needs you had 20 or 30 years ago. You don't need to fill every corner for your house to feel like home. Sometimes the most meaningful change is simply giving yourself permission to have less and enjoy it more. So before you turn 65, take a moment to walk through your home with fresh eyes. Which pieces do you actually use and love? Which ones make life easier? And which ones are just there collecting dust and getting in the way? Letting go of unused furniture is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself, for your future, and for the people who share your space. It's not just about creating more room, it's about reclaiming the comfort, freedom, and peace of mind you deserve. Number 2, clothes you never wear. Let's be honest. We all have clothes hanging in our closets or folded in drawers that haven't seen the light of day in years. Maybe it's that blazer you bought for a work event that never happened, a formal dress from a wedding in the 90s, or stacks of t-shirts from every vacation and fun run you've ever attended. Over time, these items quietly pile up, taking up space not just in your home, but in your mind. Then one day you open the closet and think, how did I end up with so much and still have nothing to wear? Before you turn 65, it's the perfect time to take a closer look at your wardrobe and ask a few key questions. Does this fit my life today? Do I feel good when I wear it? Is it helping me or holding me back? Because here's the truth. A closet full of clothes you never wear isn't just clutter. It's emotional baggage in fabric form. Every piece of clothing holds a story. That interview suit from your corporate days. The jeans you're saving for when you get back in shape. The shoes that cost a fortune but never quite fit right. We keep these items with the best of intentions, maybe for just-in-case moments, or because they represent a part of ourselves we're not quite ready to let go of. But more often than not, those pieces become reminders of what we're not doing, not wearing, not becoming, and that can quietly wear on our self-esteem. Take Diane, for example. At 70, she had a spacious walk-in closet that had become a time capsule of her life. There were elegant dresses from the days. She went ballroom dancing with her husband, stacks of sweaters from when she lived up north, and work clothes from her career as a teacher, neatly folded but untouched since her retirement. Despite the full closet, Diane often found herself wearing the same few outfits on repeat. Choosing what to wear became a daily frustration, not a joy. Then one day, while preparing for a cruise with her family, her niece came over to help her pack. As they sifted through the racks, her niece gently asked, "Aunt Diane, do you actually wear most of this anymore?" Diane paused. The truth was, she didn't. She'd held on to so many clothes out of habit, memory, and the occasional what if. But as she started sorting through each piece, she realized how much lighter she felt letting them go. They created 3 piles: keep, donate, and maybe. The keep pile included her favorite linen pants, soft sweaters she loved wearing around the house, and a few flattering tops she always reached for. The donate pile grew quickly. Items that no longer fit, didn't suit her climate, or simply didn't bring her joy anymore. The maybe pile. That's where the real emotional work happened. Each piece came with a memory. The sundress she wore on her honeymoon. The blouse she bought for her 50th birthday party. The jacket that made her feel powerful when she gave her retirement speech. But Diane made a conscious choice to honor the memories and still let the items go. She even took photos of a few meaningful pieces before parting with them, keeping the memory, not the material. The transformation was remarkable. Suddenly her closet felt like a curated space, organized, accessible, and most of all reflective of who she is now. Getting dressed each morning became a joy, not a chore. No more guilt, no more digging through clothes she hadn't worn in years, just comfort, clarity, and confidence. That's the magic of wardrobe decluttering. It's not about denying your past, it's about embracing your present. Letting go of clothes you no longer wear doesn't mean forgetting the life you lived in them. It means recognizing that you deserve to step into this next chapter with ease and authenticity. So before you turn 65, give yourself permission to clear the closet with compassion. Donate what no longer serves you. Pass along pieces that might brighten someone else's day, and keep what makes you feel good right now. Your wardrobe should support your life, not weigh it down. And when you walk into your closet and everything in it feels like you, it's amazing how much more freedom, confidence, and peace you'll feel stepping out into the world. Number 3. Expired medications and old toiletries. Some of the most easily forgotten clutter in a home isn't the kind you trip over or see every day. It's hidden away in bathroom cabinets, drawers, and bins. We're talking about expired medications and old toiletries. Over time, these items quietly multiply. Half-used prescriptions from years ago, unopened bottles of cough syrup from last winter, lotions that lost their scent, lipsticks you haven't worn in ages, and samples you collected but never tried. Out of sight, out of mind, until one day you open a cabinet and discover a time capsule of products that no longer serve you. Before you turn 65, it's especially important to take stock of what's behind those mirrored doors and under the sink. As we age, the need for safe, effective, and clearly labeled medications becomes more essential. Holding on to expired drugs may seem harmless. Maybe you think you'll need them again, just in case. But this habit can actually be dangerous. Many medications lose potency over time, which means they may not work when you really need them. Worse, some can become chemically unstable and harmful. Using an old prescription, especially one that wasn't meant for your current condition, can lead to serious health risks. And it's not just medications. Toiletries and beauty products also have a shelf life. That face moisturizer you splurged on 5 years ago, if it smells off or looks different, it's probably not doing your skin any favors. Old makeup can grow bacteria, leading to infections, breakouts, or irritation. Expired sunscreen might look the same, but it may no longer protect your skin effectively. Even items like toothpaste, shaving cream, and contact lens solution have expiration dates, ones we often overlook. Take Miriam, for example. She's 68, a retired schoolteacher with a naturally tidy home. Her living room was always spotless and her kitchen well organized. But her bathroom? That was a different story. One afternoon, while hunting for cold medicine, she reached into the back of a cabinet and pulled out a bottle so dusty she could barely read the label. Out of curiosity, she started checking expiration dates and was shocked. There were eye drops that had expired a decade earlier, arthritis cream from when her husband had knee surgery in 2009, and an old bottle of antibiotics from a dental procedure she barely remembered. What began as a quick search turned into a full-scale clean-out. Miriam filled an entire trash bag with old medications, expired makeup, and toiletries that had long passed their prime. It wasn't easy. Some of the products were expensive, and tossing them felt wasteful at first. But as she looked at the empty space left behind, she felt something unexpected: relief. "It's strange how freeing it feels to get rid of things you didn't even realize were weighing you down," she later said. "Now, everything I reach for is current, safe, and something I actually use." That's the real benefit of this kind of decluttering. It's not about perfection, it's about peace of mind. When your medicine cabinet and bathroom shelves are filled only with what you trust and need, your daily routines become smoother, your space feels calmer, and your safety is no longer at risk from long-forgotten products. So before you hit 65, take an afternoon to sort through the small stuff. Check every bottle, every tube, every box. Safely dispose of expired medications. Many pharmacies offer take-back programs. Toss anything questionable and only keep what you truly use. You'll gain more than just space. You'll gain confidence, safety, and a sense of fresh clarity in one of the most personal corners of your home. After all, your home should support your well-being in every detail. And sometimes that starts with letting go of the things hiding behind a closed cabinet door. Number 4. Old papers, documents, and unused mail. When it comes to clutter, paper might just be the sneakiest of them all. It doesn't demand a lot of space at first. It's easy to ignore when it's just 1 or 2 pieces. But over time, paper has a way of accumulating quietly until it starts to take over your home without you even realizing it. Stacks of documents piling up on countertops, stacks of unopened mail taking over the kitchen table, drawers stuffed with old receipts, and boxes filled with forgotten files and manuals for appliances you no longer even own. Paper clutter often starts small, but it quickly becomes overwhelming. And before you turn 65, it's time to confront it head-on. The tricky part about paper is that it often disguises itself as something important. How many times have you told yourself that you'll need a certain document just in case? You might keep old bills, receipts, medical forms, or even advertisements, convinced that one day you'll need them. But over time, these just-in-case piles multiply, and what once felt manageable becomes a source of stress. It isn't just about the physical space they occupy. It's about the mental clutter they create. Have you ever had to find a critical document, such as an insurance policy, medical record, or tax return, and spent what felt like forever digging through years of accumulated paperwork before finally finding it, or worse, not finding it at all? It's frustrating, time-consuming, and ultimately unnecessary. The act of sifting through piles of old documents, trying to determine what is important and what's not, can feel like a never-ending task, and the more you put it off, the worse it gets. But here's the thing. Many of us hold on to paper for emotional reasons. Perhaps it's nostalgia, old birthday cards, handwritten letters, and keepsakes from important events. Maybe it's the sense of responsibility that comes with storing financial records and legal documents. But while there is value in preserving important memories and records, it's easy to keep too much. The truth is, you don't need to hold on to every scrap of paper. Letting go of the things you no longer need can free up space not just on your desk, but in your mind. Let's look at Dennis, for example. At 70 years old, Dennis had accumulated a mountain of paper in his home office over the years. As a retired contractor, his home office had slowly transformed into what he affectionately called the paper pit. There were boxes labeled important that hadn't been touched in years. His desk was buried under layers of unopened envelopes, old magazines, and manuals for appliances he no longer used or even remembered owning. Dennis had always meant to go through it all. He knew it was important, but the task always felt daunting, so he kept putting it off. After all, there was always something else to do, right? That is, until one day, Dennis found himself in need of his birth certificate to update a travel document. After searching through several boxes, hours passed, and he still couldn't find it. The frustration mounted. At that moment, he realized something. His cluttered paper piles weren't just taking up space. They were actively getting in his way. Determined to make a change, Dennis set aside one weekend to tackle the mountain of paper in his home office. He went through every drawer, every file, and every box. He began sorting his papers into 4 piles: things to keep, things to scan and save digitally, things to shred, and things to recycle. He started with the easy wins, throwing away magazines and catalogs that were years old, recycling piles of instruction manuals for gadgets he no longer owned, and shredding old bills that no longer had any relevance. He then focused on the more personal items, sorting through tax returns, medical records, and legal papers to keep only what he truly needed. Finally, Dennis took the time to digitize important documents, creating backups so he wouldn't have to worry about losing something vital in the future. By the end of the weekend, Dennis had transformed his entire home office. It was no longer a chaotic mess of paper. It was a clean, organized, and functional space. More importantly, he no longer felt overwhelmed by the silent pressure of the papers that had been taking over his life for years. Now every important document had its place, neatly labeled in one clearly organized file drawer. "I thought it would be tedious, but it actually felt amazing," Dennis admitted, grinning. "It was like I was finally clearing out years of noise, and my space felt lighter, calmer. I can actually breathe in here now." Number 5. Kitchen items you never use. The kitchen is often called the heart of the home, but for many people it becomes a storage zone for things they never actually use. Cabinets jammed with rarely used gadgets, drawers overflowing with mismatched utensils, and shelves lined with cookware that hasn't seen a stove in years. Before you turn 65, it's time to take a hard look around and clear out the items that are turning your kitchen into a cluttered, chaotic space. Unlike other parts of the house, kitchen clutter often comes disguised as essentials. Maybe it's that juicer you bought after watching a health documentary, or the fondue, a set gifted to you years ago that still sits unopened in its box. Then there are the duplicates: 2 colanders, 3 sets of measuring spoons, 5 spatulas, and the just-in-case items we keep out of habit. You might even be holding on to chipped mugs, worn cutting boards, or food storage containers with no matching lids, thinking you'll find a use for them someday. But here's the truth. A cluttered kitchen doesn't help you cook better. It actually makes it harder. It slows you down, creates stress, and takes the joy out of preparing a meal. Just ask Elaine, a 71-year-old retired teacher who loved to cook. At least she used to. Over the years, her kitchen became filled with gadgets she didn't use, dishes she rarely touched, and drawers so full she could barely open them. Her countertops were buried under appliances, and every time she wanted to bake or cook something simple, it felt like a battle just to find what she needed. It all came to a head one afternoon when she tried to make a pot of soup and couldn't find her favorite ladle. After 15 minutes of digging through drawers and cabinets, she gave up. That's when she knew something had to change. So Elaine got serious. She cleared off her countertops, emptied drawers, and pulled everything out of her cabinets. With each item, she asked herself, do I actually use this? Does it serve a purpose in my daily life? If the answer was no, she let it go. That old hand mixer that only worked on one setting? Gone. The collection of plastic takeout containers she never used? Recycled. She even donated the fancy serving platters she'd been saving for dinner parties that never happened. By the end of the weekend, Elaine had transformed her kitchen. She didn't just have more space, she had clarity. Her tools were organized, her surfaces were clean, and for the first time in years, she felt excited to cook again. It felt like I was reclaiming the kitchen I once loved, she said. Decluttering your kitchen isn't about getting rid of everything. It's about keeping what truly serves you. A functional kitchen doesn't need to be full, it needs to be intentional. With fewer distractions, you can cook more efficiently, clean more easily, and enjoy the space in a whole new way. So if you find yourself shuffling aside appliances you never use or struggling to find that one pan you love, it might be time to ask, what's actually helping me here, and what's just taking up space? Number 6. Sentimental items that no longer serve you. Letting go of sentimental items is one of the most emotional and challenging parts of decluttering. Old love letters, childhood drawings, souvenirs from special vacations, or inherited trinkets from family members. These things hold memories, stories, and pieces of who we were. But before you turn 65, it's important to ask yourself, are these items truly enriching your life, or are they quietly weighing you down? The emotional attachment we have to sentimental objects is powerful. We keep them because they remind us of people we love, moments we've lived, or parts of ourselves we don't want to forget. But over time, they can pile up, taking over closets, filling boxes in the garage, or even occupying entire rooms. And while the memories are precious, the physical clutter can become a burden. Here's something worth remembering. Memories don't live in things, they live in you. Holding on to everything doesn't preserve the past. Sometimes it prevents you from fully embracing the present. Take Marianne, for example. She's 75 and spent most of her adult life collecting memories, photo albums from every vacation, keepsakes from her children's school years, and gifts from friends and relatives who had long since passed. Her attic was packed with boxes she hadn't opened in decades. When her youngest son helped her prepare to downsize, he gently suggested they go through some of it together. At first, Marianne resisted. "What if I forget something important?" she asked. "What if it feels like letting go of my past?" But she agreed to try. They began with one box at a time, reading old letters, flipping through faded photos, laughing over quirky souvenirs from road trips. And as they went, something shifted. Marianne started to realize that she didn't need to keep every object to keep the memory. Some things could be digitized, others shared with family, and many, though once meaningful, had served their purpose and could now be let go. In the end, she kept what mattered most: her wedding ring, a few handwritten notes from her late husband, a small wooden box her daughter made in school, and a photo frame with her grandchildren's smiling faces. The rest was either donated, recycled, or carefully documented before being released. And the result? A home that felt lighter, a heart that felt less burdened, and a new sense of peace that came from honoring the past without being trapped by it. The truth is, decluttering sentimental items isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing what to remember. It's about giving yourself permission to move forward without guilt. Because when your space reflects the life you're living now, not just the one you used to have, it becomes a home where joy can breathe again. So the next time you open a box of old memories, ask yourself, does this still bring me joy? Or am I just afraid to let go? The answer might surprise you, and it might set you free. Number 7. Sentimental items that no longer serve you. Sentimental items are among the most challenging things to declutter. These are the keepsakes we've gathered over the years: old letters, gifts from loved ones, souvenirs from trips, and personal mementos from various life stages. These items often carry deep emotional significance, reminding us of cherished moments or loved ones who are no longer with us. But the reality is, as time goes on, these items can pile up, taking up valuable space and creating unnecessary clutter. Before you turn 65, it's important to consider whether these sentimental objects still serve a meaningful purpose in your life, or if they're simply weighing you down. The key to letting go of sentimental items lies in being selective. It's easy to convince ourselves that we'll regret getting rid of something, but often we hold on to items because of the emotional attachment rather than their actual value. Take Helen, for example. She was in her late 70s and had accumulated boxes filled with letters, souvenirs, and memorabilia from different periods of her life. When she moved into a smaller home, she realized that she had kept far too many things she hadn't looked at in years. At first, it felt overwhelming. What if she forgot the memories attached to those items? What if letting go meant erasing a part of her life? But after much reflection, Helen made a shift in perspective. She decided to keep only the truly meaningful items, the ones that brought her joy when she looked at them. She carefully went through her things, holding each item and asking herself, does this still add value to my life? Some things she decided to donate, others she recycled, and for some, she took photos to preserve the memories without holding on to the physical object. By the end of the process, Helen felt an unexpected sense of relief. The physical space she created was matched by a newfound mental clarity. She could now focus on the present without being bogged down by past clutter. The memories were still with her, but now they lived in her heart and mind, not in boxes and storage containers. It's important to remember that memories aren't tied to objects. They reside within us. By decluttering sentimental items, you're not losing your history. Instead, you're freeing yourself from the emotional and physical baggage that can hold you back from embracing the life you're living today. It's about honoring your past while making room for new experiences and memories. As we wrap up, reflect on the 7 items we've discussed. Decluttering before you turn 65 is more than just making space. It's about creating a home that aligns with the life you want. Letting go of things that no longer serve you, whether it's old furniture, clothes you never wear, outdated medications, or sentimental objects, is a powerful way to simplify your life and make room for what truly matters. What stood out to you the most? Which of these items do you see in your own home? Maybe you've already started letting go of old furniture, or perhaps you've realized how much easier life would be without the clutter of old papers or unused kitchen items. Whatever your next step is, remember that decluttering isn't about being perfect. It's about creating space for the life you want to live. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below sharing what you learned and how you plan to apply it to your own life. Your thoughts are valuable to us, and we truly enjoy reading them. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating content that inspires and informs. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.